Good evening, London. I'm Harley Muller.
And I'm Joel Elzak, and this is the 411 News Team bringing you a breaking newscast about the Yellow River. Let's go to our field reporter, Evan, who is live from China.
So, Evan, how do the people feel about the soil that flows from Serbia, causing the river to flood?
Okay. Yeah. Hello there, Joel. The people are very unhappy here in the heartland of China. They feel that the Mother River is dying. Top scientists in China are astounded by the waste and debris in the river.
I see, Evan. That is a crisis. Now we go to Joel, who can give us the history of the river.
After we take a tea and crumpet break. Now a word from our sponsors.
Hi. Aw, thank you. Have a seat. Kyle, Jalen. Jalen, Kyle.
Jalen, you play nice.
I'll be right back.
What's going on, little man? I see you got your game skills down, Pack. You might have your hands full once I'll pick up the controller, little man.
Put it back. Keep your hands on my mama. Keep your hands on my Doritos.
Jalen, are you playing nice?
Yes, I love those commercials. Back to the China. Prior to the advent of modern dams in China, the Yellow River was extremely prone to flooding. In the 2,540 years prior to AD 1946, the Yellow River has been reckoned to have flooded 1,593 times, shifting its course 23 times, noticeably, and 9 times severely. These floods included some of the deadliest natural disasters ever recorded in the Yellow River Basin watershed.
The cause of the floods is the large amount of fine-grained loess carried by the river from the Loess Plateau. Most of the subaqueous dams were unpredictable and generally undetectable. Eventually, the enormous amount of water has to find a new way to the sea and bursts out across the flat North China Plain, sometimes finding a new course and eroding the land. The traditional Chinese response of building higher and higher levees along the bank sometimes also contributed to the severity of the floods. When floodwater did not break through the levees, it could no longer drain back into the riverbed as it would after a normal flood. Did break through the levees, it could no longer drain back into the riverbed as it would after a normal flood, as the riverbed was sometimes much higher than the surrounding countryside. This is known as runoff. Another historical source of devastating floods is the collapse of the upstream ice dams in Inner Mongolia, with an accompanying sudden release of vast quantities of impounded water. There have been 11 such major floods in the past century, each causing tremendous loss of life and property. Nowadays, however, explosives dropped from aircraft are used to break the ice dams before they become dangerous.
Yes, Joel, and also, the Yellow River has had a large impact on China's economic life. In the early Chinese dynasties, the river allowed for trade and economic growth. Nowadays, people use the river for waste removal, but this allows for more economic growth in multiple industries. This causes for both point source pollution and non-point source pollution. A negative impact of the river is when it overflows and destroys and kills people and destroys buildings. Another negative impact of the river is it is polluted and water from the river kills crops farms are trying to sell.
Is that it?
Back to you.
Okay. The Yellow River is known as the cradle of Chinese civilization. This being said, Chinese ancient culture began in the basin of the Yellow River. This is also where the most prosperous region of ancient China was formed. However, the Yellow River is also known as China's sorrow due to the constant flooding that destroyed as much civilization as it built.
Now we have a satellite tour of the modern Yellow River.
To begin our tour, here we have one of the origin points of the Yellow River. Next, we have another section of the Yellow River that runs past a small village and a major road. Next, there is the city of Qinghon, which passes by a small stretch of the Yellow River. Now we have a largely empty area. Much of the area around and along the Yellow River is still undeveloped. Next we have a section of the river that passes Shanglo. It has more of a mountainous region to it. The area of the river near Xinjiang makes it easier to grow crops. This yellowy looking area of the river shows how the Yellow River got its name. The coloring comes from a silty sand called loess. As we come closer to the coast, we see more areas near the Yellow River are settled. And finally, here is the end of our tour, where the Yellow River spills into the Yellow Sea. Now we have an interview with Dr. Bob.
Hello, Dr. Bob. Now, what are some of the parameters of the Yellow River that we should monitor?
Hello there, Harley. Now the parameters for the Yellow River, because it is so acidic, we need to obviously measure acidity, my bad, and dissolved oxygen levels too.
Okay. So how would these parameters be measured exactly?
Well, for acidity, you would want to take samples from the river and stick litmus paper in them. And for dissolved oxygen, you would want to also take more samples from the same place and take your dissolved oxygen meter and put it in the water and try to get a reading like that.
That's very interesting. And now back to Joel.
That's it.
I just added that because that would make.
And this concludes this segment of the story. More at 11. Thank you and good night, London, from the 411 News Team.